My friends, can you smell that in the air? It's uncertainty. Uncertainty regarding what? Uncertainty regarding the There's a lot of uncertainties. Uncertainty regarding the Pyro Archon Mavuika's plan. But before we discuss why her plan seems a bit uncertainty, we must first look at the plan itself, so a quick recap. 500 years ago, Mavuika was the Pyro Archon of Natlan when the Cataclysm first struck. The Abyss ran rampant all over Teyvat, but hit Natlan especially bad, and was only repelled when Mavuika and the heroes of the Six Tribes banded together and fought it back in, I guess this was an epic war. This, by the way, includes heroes like Tupac, who we met in the Night's Kingdom. However, shortly following the war, something horrifying was realized. Calculations concluded that although the immediate threat posed by the Abyss was no more, the Night's Kingdom was suffering, and in 500 years, it would be swallowed completely by the Abyss. Given the Night Kingdom serves as the ley lines of Natlan, if it were to go, Natlan would also be destroyed. After learning of this fate, Mavuika met with the tribe's heroes and came up with a plan that involved Mavuika moving on. And no, not from the position of Archon, but moving on from life itself. She was going to sacrifice herself to the sacred flame so that she may be reborn again later to protect Natlan when it needed her most, because let's keep in mind, mi amigos, Mavuika is but an ordinary mortal. She simply can't wait 500 years, so to make it to 500 years in the future, she opted to go with this strategy instead. The next part of her grand plan actually didn't go according to plan. That was a beautifully crafted sentence. By the time she awoke 500 years later, all the tribes were already meant to have their crowning heroes selected, and while the tribes did have the heroes selected, the heroes had no knowledge of the plan made 500 years earlier thanks to the degradation of the Night Kingdom. You see, the Wyebs were meant to be the ones who passed this plan down to the heroes, but due to the state of disarray the Night Kingdom is currently in thanks to the Abyss, the Wyebs' connection to the Sacred Flame has been cut off, even though Wyebs do know the plan.
It gladdens me to see the Pyro Archon's plan move another step towards completion.
So they know the plan, they just can't pass it off. So currently all Mavuika can do is just wait and hope that those who inherited an ancient name can really embody its spirit, as that's now the only way for them to gain knowledge of the plan. Lucky for her, 4 have already done so. Unlucky for her, 2 haven't, with less than a year before Natlan goes kabloom. So, assuming the other 2 can really connect with their ancient name, let's go with the best case scenario here. What happens next? Well, this is the easy part. They tee up, and they fight alongside the Pyro Archon herself in a grand battle versus the Abyss, with the aim of putting a stop to it once and for all, at least, you know, as it pertains to Natlan's war with it. But guys, doesn't her plan sound odd? It sounds like she may be relying on things she can't possibly have predicted. And what I mean is, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like the Traveler will play a big role in this future conflict, which these are her words, by the way, and not mine.
Your resistance to the corrupting power of the Abyss is truly remarkable. It would easily make you an all-important figure in the upcoming battle. Given the current situation, that ability will likely play a great role in the events to come. Great role, guys. Now this is strange, because to her, the Traveler should be an entirely unexpected thing. When she first crafted this plan 500 years ago, she couldn't have known about the Traveler's existence nor their powers, because 500 years ago, the Traveler was asleep in a meteor, yet she still came up with and executed this plan. Now, this seeming ace has simply fallen into her laps out of the blue, and will play a big role in the future. How lucky is she? But what if it wasn't luck? And what if she long knew of the Traveler's existence even 500 years ago, because despite the Traveler's incognizant state, Mavuika met the other Traveler, our Sibiling. But before we can continue that line of thinking, do you guys know what my favorite number is? It's 21,337, but miHoYo's might be 5, given patch 5.0 is without a doubt the biggest patch yet in Genshin Impact. Whether you're someone who only watches the videos for the lore, or a new player coming in to see what the fuss is about, version 5.0 is the perfect time for everyone to hop into Genshin Impact and either experience or re-experience the world of Teyvat, which you can do however you want, thanks to the game being a free-to-play open-world RPG that's available on your phone, PC, consoles, that's right, because this upcoming November, wait for it, Genshin Impact will also be available on the Xbox. And the best part, multi-platform cross-save. Guys, I think
think these devs thought of everything, good heavens! Play as a wandering traveler in a foreign world that's taken your only kin and uncover the many, many hidden secrets to Vatas that could shake the very universe to its core. Version 5.0 is the perfect time to do this, given first and foremost, it's pulls galore. Early top-up aside, simply logging in and playing the game will give you a heap of pulls to use on a banner, any banner you want. Furthermore, aside from the introduction of the long-awaited nation Natlan, that you can just rush right into after completing the Liyue Archon quest, perhaps the best thing about 5.0 is the host of quality of life updates making both the early and late game much more enjoyable. 5.0 will debut 2 new 5-star characters, Mualani, a Hydro Surfer Catalyst user who, damage aside, can simply surf all over Teyvat, making exploration much more fun. I can vouch, fellas, I pulled for her, and I've just been surfing all over the map. Also, in a few weeks, the Dendro carry Kanich and his companion Aha will also be arriving. However, my friends, what if I told you that's not all? You see, in 5.0, for the first time ever, you can select a standard 5-star character to join your journey simply by loading up the game. And the best part, this is now a reoccurring feature that will come every anniversary. I mean, you guys already know, I chose Mona! So my friends, what are we waiting for? Click the download link in the description and hop into the world of Teyvat and see what Genshin Impact has to offer. When it comes to Mavuika's connection with the Traveler, there's an odd line she said to us when first meeting us that should have put us on red alert, high alert!
That's more like it. After all, I've heard you're someone who transcends fate. Perhaps even more than you can imagine. But we can talk about that some other time.
This is a weird thing to say to someone though, huh? Imagine meeting someone for the first time and they just casually drop the line, "I know more about you than you could possibly imagine." Bro, that's one of those lingering thoughts, something your brain reminds you of when you're trying to sleep that night. So, what do you want about? While it's true Mavuika could have obtained all her known knowns regarding the Traveler from outside sources, even then, how does this explain how she knows the Traveler can transcend fate? She said she heard this from somewhere, but from who or what? The Archons don't keep up with one another anymore, and I mean the Sacred Flame's divine knowledge it bestows unto the Archon should only extend to matters pertaining mostly to Natlan, otherwise that thing is just broken. So how could she have come to learn of this important piece of information about the Traveler? One possible answer that has no real backing outside of hearsay is she came into contact with our sibling. And I bring this up for a couple of different reasons. The first, we know our sibling's journey roughly matches ours. Think the golden hair Nara. They played with the Nara, we played with the Nara, and not only did they play with the Nara, they told the Nara we would come eventually, which means they knew we'd be on the same journey as them. They went through all the 7 nations in some order at some points, but what these actions were in and around the Cataclysm are pretty much unknown. However, one thing is known about the Cataclysm in Natlan, and it's that the Conrians did make it to Natlan during the Cataclysm. As we learned in the Shadow of the Mountains world quest, 2 Conrians named, I gotta put my back into it, Zephiana and Uizar risked life and limb and fought alongside the Natlantians against the Abyss. So, if these 2 Conrians made it, who's to say others from Conria also didn't make it to Natlan during the Cataclysm? The other reason for this line of thinking is, I genuinely don't know who else could have provided more information on the Traveler than their sibling, but the sibling being the one who shared this information about the Traveler to Mavuika raises some problems. This whole idea raises problems. One, barring the sibling fought alongside Mavuika, it's unlikely they would have met given soon after the fighting, Mavuika sacrificed herself to the flame, so there's a real narrow time span between the end of the Cataclysm and when Mavuika went poof that they could have met. And this ties into the next point, which is, if these 2 ever did meet, it would have had to have been early enough to where Mavuika was still alive, but late enough to where the Traveler knew of their sibling's special status regarding fate. Furthermore, another thing that turns me away from this whole idea is the fact that if the sibling even did fight alongside Mavuika and the heroes, surely they would have been given an ancient's name that's their sibling could have inherited. The reality is, however, we are being crafted an ancient's name, a seeming first for the foreigners. Given there's too many variables here, another possibility regarding who could be helping Mavuika is the one Mavuika said was far wiser than herself, xbalanque, the greatest human to ever live, who's currently said to be entombed in the primal flame, but somewhat conscious. It's likely the flames who Mavuika are talking to in the Ignition trailer is xbalanque, but we really can't say that for certain. All we can say for certain is that Natlan is like a house of cards, my friends, waiting to be eaten by a yellow-black jelly bear.